Hey, beautiful people. Welcome back to Necessary Conversations, episode 5. We are here today. We're going to lighten it up today because the last couple of weeks we've been getting a little bit deep. We've been having these necessary conversations, but we've been getting a little bit deep. We had to dig a little bit deeper. And so I thought it was perfectly fitting today to do something fun and necessary because it is Cinco de Mayo. Some of you guys are out having margaritas and tacos. We're going to have some tacos after we complete this broadcast, but I have coming to the stage a very, very dear friend of mine. She's my travel agent. She's our client. I went to high school with her. We go way, way back, but she is everything travel. She's not only travel, she does so many things. She owns a hair care line. She owns a travel apparel line. So she is all things travel, all things everything. Her and her husband. And so I'm excited because we just got back. We like well, we kind of feel like we are. The world is back open, but this is super exciting because many people have not traveled through the pandemic, but the world is back open. Seemingly, it seems like everybody's back open, so we're gonna say it's back open. But yes, I mean, let's see where people are going. Let's see the best places. We're gonna talk about the top places to travel this summer. We're gonna talk about how to do it safely. And so I am going to bring to the stage my dear friend, my Libra sister, Naila Queen. Fitting. Her name is fitting because she is a queen, Naila Queen. Hey, sis.
Hey, how are you?
How are you, beautiful queen?
I'm well. No complaints. Thank you so much for asking.
Complaint.
It's so great to see your face. You're so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. You are too. Thank you, my sister. So we had to switch up the background today because it was a little lighter,
Okay.
Felt a little party-ish, celebrational today. So the world's back open, right?
Yeah.
Well, seemingly. I mean, for you, maybe not so much because people continue. We know you continue to travel. That's why you are the travel queen, because through this all, you had the privilege of being invited to so many places, and so you had, you get the red carpet rolled out to you, and so. The last couple of weeks we've really been digging deep. We've talked about life insurance and estate planning. We talked about just all different mental health. Last week was mental health. And so I think it's fitting. I mean, I think a part of all the conversations that we have, I mean, some of the things that you do include insurance, include, mental health. We need a vacation. We need to pause sometimes. And so I wanted to talk about where to go, the hottest places to go this summer, and how we do it safely, what you're seeing out there in the travel industry, what we need to be mindful of.
Okay. Well, I got you. I got you guys covered. Travel is back and popping, as people would say. The young people would say, "It's on and popping." It hasn't really stopped because there were still a lot of people who were traveling during the pandemic. We had a destination wedding in the middle of the pandemic, so people are still traveling. But now it's open, like you said. The world is open back up. The restrictions have lessened, so people feel more comfortable traveling. Pretty much we're getting requests all over the place. What I can say is since the pandemic, the amount of inquiries and people traveling to places like Europe, outside of the US, where people were like kind of Vegas, Miami, people are now saying, I want to explore everywhere. And I think the pandemic has made everyone aware of how things can change in the blink of an eye. So let's live life to the fullest. And where I said I wanted to go and what's been on my wish list and stuff, let me go ahead and start checking these boxes off and let's get these places. So we've been getting inquiries and a lot of people traveling just pretty much everywhere. It's been awesome though. And I love seeing it. I love seeing people travel. That's one of the reasons why, I even started the travel agency, especially here in Baltimore, because I realized there were so many people, especially African-American people in our community, that were not traveling and did not know about travel and how to travel affordably. And we just decided to start the company and help people plan amazing vacations, create memories for them and their family, affordably, and space it out so they can do what they want. So we're here.
So to guys kind of give you guys a little bit of background, she saved my life for my wedding. Again, I hadn't talked to Naila in years. I had this horrendous travel agent. I reached out to her and I was like, girl, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And in the midst of it, she just came through and just scooped everything up and made our wedding incredible. So I mean, and then tons of other family members have booked their weddings and traveled through her. So she is incredible. But let's talk about some of the restrictions that you're seeing. I know that you said you've seen it lighten up, and so there's still this debate of mask on, mask off. Are we wearing the mask? Do you have to have your shots? Do you have to have your booster? Are you showing your card? What does that look like going into different countries? Do you have to be tested before you come in, before you leave? Are specific countries more serious about it than others, or strict about it than others?
I will say that we are the least restrictive country. We have been the whole entire time throughout the pandemic. Hence our numbers, right?
Right.
But each country is different. You might need to. Most of them are requiring that you're vaccinated. So that's one of the things that I run into a lot with people, because you have people who are saying, I'm not getting vaccinated, but then you want to travel. And it really limits you to where you can go, because these countries outside of the U.S., they're requiring it. So it's either, for the most part, you get vaccinated to travel, or you're not really going to be traveling many places. Yeah, like we just had people, clients that were in France and Italy, and they had to be vaccinated. Of course, like I have a group next week going to Mexico, and you don't have to be, but it adds an extra layer of protection. But of course, we have to test to come back into the States.
Okay, so do you have to show your card? You don't have to be vaccinated, but do you have to test before? Because before you had to test before, then test before you came back.
Right. So like Mexico, you don't have to show anything to get over there, but you have to show a negative COVID test to come back to the U.S. The airlines won't even check you in to come back if you don't have that negative COVID test, or a document of recovery. And that's for people, say, who have tested positive for COVID in the last 3 months. You can get that letter from your doctor, because most likely your test will still show, positive if you test within that time frame afterwards. So it just lets them know, hey, you did test, and this is why it will come up net positive, but you're safe to travel back. But Jamaica, they just lessened theirs because you had to get a COVID test when I went, and that was the end of March. Like the following week was like, no COVID test needed. They come in Jamaica, and I was like, man, you could have did that a week earlier. But I really don't have a problem with the testing. I tell people, even if they don't require it, test. Know before you go, because if say for instance you go over there, you have to test to come back. So if you know that you don't have COVID going, that for one, if you contracted, where you got it from. But like if I test before I go to travel to DR and I test positive, one, you shouldn't be traveling, so you don't infect other people. But you also won't get stuck over there and blindsided when you test to come back and like, I'm positive, but you probably were positive before you left and didn't know. So I just tell everybody to test before you go. Just test before.
So that's a good question that I have. So if you get over there and you test positive, what happens?
Well, it's a lot better now, because it was chaotic at first.
Okay.
I strongly encourage people to go through, especially if they're traveling now, go through your travel agent, whoever that person may be. Or if you're not going to, do your due diligence about their resort that you're staying at, what their COVID protocols are, because not all resorts are going to have things in place that will help you in case you test positive. Some resorts will send you out, just like you're in the city and be at the hospital because you need a quarantine. They don't have a place for you. Some resorts have, like the one we're staying at, if you test positive, they keep you at the resort. They move you to another area in the resort, and you get to stay. Some of them, like this one, doesn't charge. Some of them do charge a lower rate for each additional day. So it really depends on your resort where you're staying at and what their protocols are for when you travel. That's why also travel insurance is so very, very important. Everyone always
That's
thinks,
what we're
I
gonna
don't
get
need it.
into.
It's not going to be me until it is. And you need that insurance, even to reimburse yourself. Like you might have your car, but you can say, okay, I'm stuck here. I can cover the next 5 nights at this resort. But it's good to know that you'll get reimbursed for it because you had insurance. Or we don't know how bad it can be. It could be, it affects your body differently and it hits you bad. Last time it may not have hit you bad. This time it may hit you bad. You want to be able to be covered in case you have to have a hospital stay and stuff like that. It's expensive.
So pause. Are you out of the country right now? Because you just said because where we staying. Are you in another country right now?
No, I'll be next week though.
Okay. Okay. Wait a minute. She's taking these lives. I mean, live the life, live your best life. But she's like, not this week, but next week I'll be gone.
Listen, and I
So
would have
talk.
jumped
Okay.
on in
So what
another
is that?
country for you too.
I love you. Tell me what does it cover? Like, people are like, because when you get to adding up costs, and people are like, when you're a travel agent, you want to add on insurance. It's kind of like the warranty. Some people are like, I only budgeted for this trip. They're like, I didn't budget for that insurance. What is it? What is it? Why is it necessary? And what does it cover?
Okay, so I tell people to get insurance the same way you get insurance on your car, on your flat screen TV that you get in the house, in the basement, in the man cave, your cell phone. Cover your trip. Protect your investment. It's an investment when you take a trip. So make sure that you get insurance to cover in case anything goes wrong. And it covers so much stuff. It covers like if your luggage is lost, baggage delays, if it's lost and then they find it. Say for instance, your flight is delayed and canceled. Now you have to rebook. Those things are covered. If you get stuck and you have to stay at a hotel because the flight was canceled, you get that reimbursed. I've had to use my insurance myself a couple of times flying back when we had delayed flights. I mean, they reimbursed for like food expenses and stuff like that. I had a hotel stay and an airline change that was reimbursed. Uh, I had insurance when I recently went on a cruise, and I just got sick. I didn't have COVID or anything, but it ended up having to go down to medical, and that was reimbursed. So it's like those unforeseen situations are covered. When you don't think about it, no one thinks they're going to need insurance until you actually need insurance. And it's important that you have it to make sure that you're covered. And it covers if you have the COVID, if you have to stay over in the hotel for things like that. Medical, if you on a jet skis and you hit that bump on the wave and you twist your leg or fracture your wrist or stuff like those things really happen. They really happen. So it's better off to protect yourself. You might spend 120, 130 or whatever compared to a couple $1,000 bill. I think that's an even exchange. Like, come on, protect your investment.
So you can. So I've never. Okay, so I just get it because you say get it. I just so I know that I have it, but I never knew what it covered. You say get it, I get it, and that's it. I never knew that if we were stuck somewhere or we had a layover and we had to get a hotel that we can with the insurance it can be covered. You can be
Yeah.
reimbursed for it.
Yes, losing your baggage. They reimburse you
Huh.
if you need to get clothes. Like so many things it covers. Like I said, the delayed flights, trip interruption. If you have to come back for any specific reason, something goes on with the hotel and you have to move and go to another hotel. Like all those things are covered, especially with the medical. If you have to, say go to the hospital, stay in the hospital, or have to fly back, a lot of those things are covered with the insurance outside of what people just think with COVID. Those are things that can just happen. And you want to make sure that you do have that protection and stuff like that. It just eases your mind.
I
It
just
gives you
always
peace of
thought,
mind.
I just always thought that it was if you needed to cancel your trip. So that was so good to know. Again, these are necessary things. I'm certain that I'm probably not the only person who didn't know that, what it covered because most people are like, I'm not taking it. That's $130. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it.
And it will
Go ahead.
also change I've I've seen people not purchase insurance because it's $130 and feel that they wanted to cancel their trip. And because it's a couple $1,000s, go on that trip. I actually had clients that went to St. Martin's when Irma was hitting, and we knew about it. But because of the no insurance and no cancel for any reason, um, it was like, let's go. And I'm like, ah, let's not. But you still have to allow people to do what they do. But it makes those decisions. It impacts decisions that people make based on travel. Like, do I want to cancel? Like, if you knew that travel insurance also covers if you have sickness, death in your family, things like that. So if you know that you have that coverage and something happens, you're more inclined to go ahead and cancel, handle business. But if you don't have that coverage, it's like, do I waste this couple $1,000 or because I won't get it back, or do I, go type of thing, and handle your business the way you need to. So it affects a lot of people's decisions when it comes to travel. So that's why I say, get it. If your job cancels your vacation and you can't go, it covers those things. It covers if your roommate
so you get your money back.
you. So we have this happen all the time. It covers if your roommate cancels on you and now you're a single rate and you can't afford the single rate, but you paid your portion. It covers you and it gives you your reimbursement.
So it gives you your money back. Well, I mean, I don't know why. I mean, again, I just do what you tell me to do. But I mean, I can see why people are like, okay, well, you're telling me this, and then they're like, okay, well, there's additional. But I don't see why people wouldn't do it now. Like now that it's been explained, I don't know if you guys have heard this. I know some people are just logging on. We're just talking about insurance, the importance of travel insurance. I don't know why you wouldn't have it. I don't know why. Now I'm just gonna be, if I go away, it's almost like, it's necessary to have. Like you need to have travel, just like you need to have health insurance, and we gotta be covered. I mean, health insurance, life insurance, travel insurance. Wow, I had no clue.
And a lot of
So
people
let's
think
talk
that
about,
health insurance is travel insurance, and it's not. It's not.
they think they're what?
Their health insurance is their travel insurance in case something happens to them, that their regular health insurance would cover them abroad.
Is gonna
And
cover it.
that's not necessarily, not all insurances do it. Very limited insurances do it, but a lot of people think that they can just use their card and it'll be covered, and it won't.
Wow. So if you are traveling and you're away and you get sick and you're like, hey, I have insurance. Let me go ahead and use my health insurance. Sometimes you're not covered, but if you had travel insurance, the travel insurance will cover more often than your health insurance.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm hearing you right?
Correct. So your health insurance will cover, like if you're in the state, if you're out of network or you're in network, and those things are covered. You don't have a lot of doctors that are in network that are out of the country. So, it's different. It's completely different. And more likely when you go abroad, even though you have the insurance reimburses you, you still have to pay out of pocket for those things.
Okay.
So you know that you're getting it back. Whereas though if you spent $1,800, you'll get refunded $1,800. But if you don't have insurance, you just owe $1,800.
Wow. I mean, again, this is why we have these conversations. This is why we sit down with the professionals, because there are some people who just don't know these things. Let's get into the juicy stuff. Let's talk about the hottest places that people are going this summer.
What I will say is you're still going to have your top threes, your Mexico, your Punta Cana, your Jamaica. I'm getting a lot more Jamaica than I've gotten before, which is so odd because they were more stricter. But I think because they were compared to like Mexico, people felt more comfortable traveling there. The places that seem like they have tighter restrictions with the COVID and stuff, they're the ones that people want to go to because it makes them feel more comfortable. I get it, because that they are serious about it. So it makes you feel like, it's going to be safer while you're there. Colombia, Dubai, the regular ones, but more Colombia now and a lot more Europe. I think people were just kind of like waiting because when they shut down, like me myself, I was planning to go to Italy when everything happened. That was supposed to be my birthday trip that year, so I'm like, go then. So I'm looking forward to even going this year. But the normal three hot spots, add Colombia with it, and some Europe.
In Europe. So you said Mexico,
Yeah,
Jamaica,
yeah,
Dominican Republic,
yes,
Colombia, South America,
yes.
and Europe. Is there anywhere specific in Europe people are traveling?
I'm getting more requests for, I guess, like the staples. A lot of them are doing the London and Paris.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we're also getting a lot of the Italy, but more of the Paris, just wanting to see, like, I guess the pictures. I don't know if it's some Eiffel Tower pictures out here that's floating around. It's got everybody wanting to go and take these pictures, but we're getting a lot of them just for people wanting to go and take pictures and have dinner at the Eiffel Tower.
So you have some favorites because I know that you get invited a lot of places. You get special requests to come and tour these resorts. Do you have a top five?
Destination or resorts?
But let's do both. Let's do your top five destinations and top five resorts.
Okay. So destinations, my favorite would be Barcelona.
Barcelona.
I will move there. That's
Why?
just
You were moved to
I would
Barcelona.
move there in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
Why?
Oh, it was just so beautiful. Everyone was so nice. It was affordable and it was fun, and it just had so much history. And the shops were amazing, and food was awesome. You know,
Okay.
I'm a foodie. The food was
Yes.
awesome. Um, the second one, I would have to say,
We'll do
I
top
act-
three.
top
We'll do
three.
top three. Yeah.
The second one would be Tenerife. Um, we stayed there as well, and the nightlife was amazing. The people were friendly, food was good, and then Mexico is always going to be on that list. It's because I go so often; it's like my second home.
Okay.
Um, just because I love the service, I love the service and the food. It's yeah, it's always going to be up there.
Okay. And what about so you get the resort life? I mean, you get the passes. I see it online. They invite you, they roll out the carpet, they feed you guys. Well, what is your we'll do the top three, but what is your absolute favorite resort?
My absolute favorite would have to be Breathless. As part of AM brand, it is a party atmosphere. Um, I've been to all of them in the different destinations, and it's just been consistent. It gives you that party fun, adults only, because I love adults only now that I can do adults only without any kids. Um, and the food's good. It's I love it. It's been my favorite.
Breathless.
Yes, breakfast.
Breathless in any country.
Yeah, but I think my favorite one. Okay, so when it comes to the partying aspect of it, would be Punta Cana. That's the
Okay.
original. But the sexiness of the rooms would
She
be
said,
it would be
what
Jamaica.
the hell? Which one?
The sexiness of the room, and the nightlife and stuff as well too. I would say Jamaica. Yeah.
Jamaica.
Hmm.
Jamaica. So let me tell you, I got a confession.
What?
Jamaica is not my favorite place.
That's
I
okay.
tried it like two or three times and it just doesn't match. We've tried two different times. And it's just we love Mexico. We're headed to Eden Rock in a couple of weeks. I hear Eden Rock's awesome.
Yeah.
So we're excited about going to Eden Rock. But Yeah, like Jamaica wasn't my good girlfriend. Let's talk about relaxation. We're gonna talk about relaxation places for people who, you know what, I'm not about that rah rah because we get a little bit older now, and so we rah rah a little bit, we like to party a little bit, but then sometimes we just want some zen. We want some, do you have any favorite spa resorts?
Zoetry is always going to be a go-to, and that is
Who?
Zoetry.
Zoetry, where's that at?
That well, they have a couple different ones in different destinations, but it's still part of the AM brand. I love that brand. It's just really consistent with their quality, the service, their standards, just the way I like it. It's 5 star. Zoetry is that zen. It is not any of that rah rah. It's going to be, relaxation, great service, like excellence. Excellence has the same thing. Great service, great food, and just not a big crowd. They're not really big resorts, and it just gives you that whole zen. If you want to get up and do yoga in the morning, you would not feel out of place walking out and doing it, type of thing.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's
So
needed.
Zoetry.
Places like that are needed, to give you a balance. Just like I said, even when we love Breathless because it has that fun, but we're also realizing that we do like, something that's kind of laid back now, and being able to just have some nightlife, in the evenings after dinner. And we got that at Sandals,
Mhm.
and it was perfect. It was, you know, it wasn't any of that rah rah rah. It was fun, and then some nightlife at night. It was really perfect for us.
So for your resorts, Breathless Fun, Zoetry Zen. Let's talk about family because we got to cover the family friendly. A lot of kids, a lot of parents are headed, these kids are getting ready to get out of school and they're trying to figure out the best place to stay and to travel.
Um, I would say the Royalton brand, family
Ooh, yes.
friendly. It's good. It's all the way around. I haven't been able to find a bad one yet. They are really really good. You have Hard Rock, in
Okay.
Mexico, that is really really good. When I think of things like for the kids to do, activities for them to do, Planet Hollywood also in Mexico with stuff for the kids to do, and the older age, because a lot of times we run into stuff for the little kids to do, but then you get that 13 to 18 to like 17, and it's like what's for them to do. And these resorts have stuff that they can also enjoy as well too. So yeah.
So we have a funny story about Royalton. We went to a wedding in Royalton, of course, that you booked, and we love coffee. So anybody knows I love coffee. I just, and my clients, people are beginning to know me by the coffee place I go to. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they're like, "Yeah, because you love Atwaters." Oh, wait a minute, why do you know that? Do I talk about much? So we had this really great coffee experience, and we've been chasing that whole coffee experience since we have been to the Royalton in Mexico, like
What
four
did
or
they
5 years
do for
ago.
you?
I don't know. The coffee was just amazing. It was just great. And we have not been able to find the coffee experience since we have tried and tried and tried. But that coffee at the Royalton was amazing. That was the funny story about the Royalton. So there's some really interesting. I tend to read a lot. I tend to travel to watch Travel Noir, and I was watching a couple weeks ago, and this is becoming a lot more popular. And I tend to reach out to my girls who do it, but there's a lot of single women traveling now, and they're. Let's talk a little bit about the dangers behind it. I was watching I was looking at an article about a young lady who was traveling, and I really want to say she was traveling to, I don't remember where it was, but she had traveled, and in her room, she was being raped in her room. Like she didn't know it. She thought she was in a dream, and security had let themselves in. They were trying to rob her, and she realized what was going on. She tried to alarm him by saying that she had HIV, but she was not protected by the resort at all, and even by the country police at all. They just they were like, well, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. So, the only thing that they could charge him on was, I guess, just him coming into the room. But let's talk about that, because when a lot of women are doing it, a lot of women are taking feel like these much needed trips. And I think there's a safety piece. We kind of like, oh, okay, I'm fine. I'll meet people. There is definitely a safety piece that needs to be discussed about taking trips. And are there places that are safer for our single travelers?
So what I would say, because actually I've always had a lot of single traveler females, um, and the same discussion that we have is making sure you're safe and using common sense, right? The same way that we would back home, you do abroad. You don't travel at night by yourself. Meaning like going off the resort and going into places that someone tell you go back down this alley and you'll find this down here. You would not do that in a place that you're just not familiar with. It's important that you stay at a resort that's reputable. I know it's easy to just do an Airbnb, but you don't know who owns that Airbnb, who has access to your room, and ultimately you, because they don't have to answer to anyone but them. When you have a larger chain that has standards and they have protocols, certain things just can't go on the way that you would expect it going. And if they do, it's so rare, right? I know I personally have an alarm that I travel with when I travel by myself. It's a door alarm. You can get it online, on Amazon. It's very cheap. And what I do is I put the alarm. It's like a low and a medium, and you just kind of turn it on. It looks like a door stop. You push it under the door, and if someone goes to come in your room, it alerts you. It is loud. True story. Me and Daryl were vacationing, I want to say like 2 years ago. I tried the alarm. I forgot to take the alarm from the door. Room service went to come in the next morning. And you know how sometimes they'll knock. If you're not saying anything, they go to open the door, and it went off, scared the room service lady. She dropped the stuff and ran down the hall. We were in the bed like, what's going on? What's going on? It works. It definitely works.
It works.
It scared us, but I take that with me when I travel alone. I can put it on my balcony door, and I put it on my front door, and that's just that level of protection that you may want to have, the extra level of protection when you're in the room by yourself for a situation like that. For hearing a story, if someone coming to your room, that would at least alert people, and not just you, but the people in the hall would hear, what's going on if somebody came to your door. The rest of the stuff, pay attention to your surroundings. Pay attention if someone's following you through the resort. You're noticing that, talk to security. It is difficult in different destinations. One, you have some language barriers that you're going to be working against, communicating what's going on, them understanding how serious it is. And that's just not in different destinations. We get that at home, when it comes to women expressing things, that something's going on with them. We get it in the health field, that they dumb down when we make complaints about things. So I think as women, it's harder to kind of prove things going on. So we have to take the initiative, pay attention to our surroundings. If someone is doing something, I don't have a problem pulling up my phone and taking a picture of you. It's starting to be creepy to me, because I need documentation later if something's to happen of who that person is. And you're not going to think about it when it happens. So, just take precaution that you would do back home and extra ones when you're abroad.
Great. That just makes me feel that I'm glad you said that. So I knew that there was like some type of door stop, but I didn't know that there was one with an alarm on. And I don't think that's just out of the country. I think if you're a woman and you're traveling, these ladies, I mean, if you're traveling for business, I don't care if you're going to DC, I don't care if you're going downtown, I don't care if you're going to Chicago. I personally think it's something that you should have to put on your door, because, again, sex trafficking it's real. It's a real thing. And a lot of times you're reading that a lot of the hotel staff are in cahoots with people. And so I think it's something who I have a bunch of little sisters who travel for work and travel. And I'm like, I'm gonna start asking you for your location. I need a tracker on you. I need to know where you're going. Like, are you safe? Duran and I talk all the time about, that he's like, if you go somewhere, if you're going somewhere, make sure that you have even if that person's not staying there, have a male's name on the reservation. Do you agree with that? Because maybe that would deter somebody.
I think that it possibly could if it's someone that's at the front desk. But again, if you have if you can have a man name on your house, but if you got a guy that's being a creepy, watching you from Atwater's while you're getting coffee, he doesn't know about, Deron at home. He's just being that creep at that moment. So I just think, being very vocal about what makes you feel uncomfortable. Don't be passive if someone is making you feel uncomfortable, and let them know it's not okay. I think a lot of times we tend to not say anything, thinking that they'll just go away and leave us alone. And I think they take it as a sign of, I'm not going to say permission, but because we don't say anything, they continue to make us uncomfortable because we're continuing to allow them to make us feel uncomfortable. So I try to say, let's speak up more. If someone, even if someone comes over and sits next to you and you don't want anyone sitting next to you, let them know that's okay. I would not like to have anyone sitting next to me right now. And I've had to learn those things traveling. Those are things that I've learned, like being at the pool. Everyone's so comfortable at the pool bar, and people are drinking, and some people have been drinking the whole time. And a lot of times they do get a little bit too comfortable, feeling they can be in your personal space, touching you if they, feeling like, hey, it's okay. No, it's not. I'm very vocal about my personal space and what I accept and what I don't accept. And it took a long time for me, especially from all I've gone through when I was younger, to get to that point to say, hey, no, that's not okay. So those are things that I do. I pay attention to who's walking around me, how many times I've seen that person, why do they keep popping up here? And then if that's the case, I might go talk to the security guard, or I'll let the front desk know right then, or somebody that works then right then, so they can eyeball that person. And again, I'll pull out my phone in a heartbeat and take a picture. Just because if you decide you want to do anything crazy, then at least I have a picture of you that you can't take away. I'll take that picture and I'll send it right home in a heartbeat. Like, hey, this guy, this is what he looked like. This is what's going on, and do those things just because it is. I mean, whether you're in DC, Baltimore, staying downtown, we still have to do those things to protect ourselves. Because we are our voice, we got to be the first ones to say when we're uncomfortable and what we're not going to tolerate with people invading our spaces and stuff. I wish that everybody could have a taser, like everyone have a taser to protect them. But I know those things are not even legal. But it is concerning because these things, although they're rare, they do happen. So it's just taking those extra steps, being proactive, and being aware of your surroundings. If you're traveling as a woman, and I know that we like to go out and we like to have fun, but I always say, don't get blackout drunk. Don't get blackout drunk, and you don't know what's going on. I know a lot of times with girlfriends, and I know my girlfriends, we make sure each other are okay. If we go out and we've been drinking, no one's letting anyone go home by, alone or with another person or anything like that. So many times I hear so many stories, it doesn't seem like that rule applies much to this younger generation. I don't know, but if you're with your girlfriends, have that buddy system. I know sometimes with girls, have that buddy system. Go in pairs, even if you gotta go to the bathroom. Girlfriends, have that buddy.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you were breaking up a little bit. I was like, what is going on? I can't hear you. I know we have some questions back. We have a few comments. We do have a question. Give me 1 second because these beautiful people are tuning in. One second. We have a couple of questions. Um, what is the most slept on locations travelers should place on their list? Like what people overlook?
I think people overlook any place that's not in like in a BuzzFeed. You know what I'm saying? It can be, for instance, Arizona is amazing with spa. If you're looking at like just peace spa, that then you never hear people saying, hey, let me go to Arizona and do a spa day or do a spa weekend. They have this amazing little black owned um, resort. It's only about, I want to say 20 rooms or something like that, and it's fairly new, but you never hear about it because for one, it's not international, and it's not a place that people really think to go. But they have so many spa places there, so that's one. Because that I'm actually thinking of doing a girls trip and going back there just to experience it myself. But I think that anything that people don't, it's not out in the streets. Tulum was where everyone was going. I still want to go to that all the time. They, I don't know. I just think anything that's off the grid, anything off the grid, not
It's off the grid that people just
like
aren't.
something that's not the major city. It might be a town or something over, and you get the same experience, but no one thinks of it because they're always just looking for the major city or the name, like Cancun. You don't think to go to different places outside of Cancun. It's just let's go here because that's where they say to go. Like I get so many people say I
Right.
want to go to Cancun and think that the whole thing is Cancun. I'm like, well, that's Riviera Maya. That's Playa del
Right.
Carmen. That's boat ride away. You got Cozumel that
Right.
no one really even thinks to go to. No one. I've actually never had anyone ask me about Cozumel. I don't even think they think that it's in Mexico.
Nobody asked you about Cosmo.
No, because they go on the boat
I have
trips,
a question. Somebody
but no one's
said
ever asked me to go there.
no one's ever asked you to go to Cozumel.
Nope.
So I have somebody who asked, is Canada a nice place to visit? Is Niagara Falls a nice place to visit?
Yes. I wouldn't go in the wintertime
Yes.
just because I want to experience the fall, and you're going to be freezing with all that water getting on you. But it is. It definitely is. And then you're not far from it. So you can, some people have driven. We actually were just looking at seeing if we can get a train ticket up there just so we can do the scenic route, not have to worry about driving. So that's an option as well too. And it's closer.
And you need your passport for that, right?
You do.
So I got to tell a brief story about how Naila came through. She's a lifesaver when it came to passports. So we needed our son's passport. I had no clue what we were going to do. We had already submitted the paperwork. They were taking their time. We had a wedding to shoot in Jamaica. And Naila came on. She was doing something. And she was like, call your senator. And I was like, what? She's like, I'm telling you, call your senator, write to the senator, and I guarantee you'll get it. And sure enough, y'all, I wrote to the senator. I can't even think of his name right now. Chris Van Hollen here in Maryland. And within 3 days, he had approved it, but did what he needed to do. And so these are like the little secrets that most people aren't going to know if you don't have a travel agent. It's like, okay, you knew how to get people where they needed to be in the last minute. I actually shared this with a client of mine. She had gotten her passport, her cousin, they were headed out of town, and she needed it within like a 5-day time frame. She's like, they're not responding. I said, girl, call Chris Van Hollen. My travel agent taught me this. And so these are things that, again, I wouldn't have known. I would have been like, oh, I guess we're just going to have to take the L. But no, she was like, here's the information. Call your senator. This is what they're there for. They can help you do that. So that was just incredible information. Tell me 3 things that you want these people to leave here with today that's necessary for them to know as they're traveling this summer. 3 or 5 things you want them to know.
Travel smart. Um, don't be afraid to explore different destinations. Um, because pretty much everyone should be living their life to the fullest at this point. We've seen so much in these past 2.5 years that if it's a place that you want to go to, go. If someone does not want to go, leave them and go. It's just that simple. I've seen so many people that miss out on opportunities and trips because their friend does not want to go. Go without them, and you will still have a great time. Um, be safe. Um, get insurance, get travel insurance, get travel insurance, get travel insurance. I can't stress that enough. Get travel
Get
insurance.
travel insurance. Get travel insurance. Use a travel agent. Use a travel agent. Get
And
travel insurance.
that was the last one. Use a travel agent. Find someone that you trust, someone that travels, because they need to know. So we go, so you know, and that's pretty much how it is. So get a travel agent that travel, one that you trust, and let them plan something amazing for you. We have payment plans. We can space it out however long. We have financing. There's really no reason that you don't go to wherever your heart desires if you really want to go. We have the means to help you get there. So that's what I'll leave you guys with.
Well, beautiful. As always, it's always a party when we link up. So I
Always.
thank you so much. Y'all, let me tell y'all, if y'all didn't walk away with anything, y'all better get that travel insurance the next time that you guys go somewhere. Get travel insurance and get yourself a travel agent. Again, if you need Naila's information, reach out to me. I can link you and book your trip. Let's get to traveling. The world's back open. I'm certain you all need it. We've been through a pandemic. We've been through a mental health pandemic.
Yes.
Get to traveling.
Yes.
You only get to live this life once. So again, as always, guys, thank you so much to Naila for tuning in, and I will see you soon, sis.
Thank you, sis, for
Thank
having
you.
me. I appreciate you. Always,
Thank
always.
you. Thank you. Well, guys, that was a wrap. Again, incredible. It always comes with necessary conversation. This was supposed to be fun. It was fun, but there is a necessary conversation and fun. These were things that I always wondered. Our single travelers, how to keep them safe. I just really didn't know that much about the insurance and why it was necessary. So how awesome was that? But thank you as always for tuning in. Next week we will be back at it again, and we're going to be talking about financing and investing. We're going to be talking about getting your financial portfolio together. So we have someone. Glenn Holmes he's a financial advisor. He's going to be joining us next Thursday here. Meet us back here, invite a friend, share. You guys have been sharing the broadcast, so I thank you so much for that. But stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next week. Stay tuned because I am going to be announcing the in-person event, the Wine and Wills event that we're going to be having very soon. So again, as always, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week. Have fun on happy Cinco de Mayo.